Have you ever wondered why your heart seems to choose the people who barely choose you back? Why your mind ignores the ones who care and instead holds on to those who treat your presence as optional? It's a strange, quiet ache, the kind you don't talk about, the kind you keep tucked behind jokes and half smiles. But deep down, when the noise fades and it's just you and your thoughts, you know the truth. You care too much about people who don't care even half as deeply about you. And no matter how much you try to rationalize it, it still hurts in that soft, familiar place inside your chest. Maybe you're listening to this right now because something in your life feels unbalanced. Maybe someone has been slipping away from you slowly, gently, almost politely. Or maybe you recently realized that you've been investing in people who never truly invested in you. And it feels unfair because you know you have a good heart. You know you show up. You know you give love honestly. But somehow, the people you want the most always feel just out of reach, like you're stretching your hand through fog. You can see them, you can almost touch them, but something stops you. Something keeps the distance alive. And the hardest part is admitting it. Sometimes you care so deeply because deep down you're hoping that this time someone will finally stay. Someone will finally choose you. Someone will finally give you the certainty you've been craving since childhood. The certainty that you matter, that you're worth holding on to, that you don't have to fight for a place in someone's heart. But life doesn't always work like that. And people don't always reflect back the love you give them. It's not your fault. Let's start there. It's not your fault that you care too much. It's not your fault that you feel everything with such intensity. People who feel deeply often grow up in environments where their emotional needs weren't fully met. Maybe you were the child who had to try a little harder for affection. Maybe you were the teen who learned to earn attention through effort, being kind, being helpful, being useful. Or maybe you grew up around emotionally unpredictable people. So you learned to chase the crumbs of love as if they were a feast. You learned to survive by trying. You learned to hope by holding on. And you learned to love by waiting. And now, as an adult, that pattern follows you. You meet someone distant, someone inconsistent, someone who gives you the bare minimum sprinkled with just enough attention to keep you hooked, and suddenly you're back in that familiar role. You're the giver again, the chaser again, the person trying to earn what should have been freely given. People who don't care that deeply become attractive because they trigger one of the oldest psychological drives you carry, the desire to prove your worth. You don't consciously think this, of course. It's subtle. It hides in the spaces between the text messages you reread. It whispers in the excuses you make for someone's lack of effort. It lingers in the hope that maybe they'll change, or maybe they just need time. But the truth is simpler and softer and a little heartbreaking. You care too much about people who don't care about you, because part of you is still trying to heal the wounds of your past through the attention of the present. Think about it for a moment. Think about a person in your life who has been distant, uninterested, or inconsistent. Someone whose affection you've been trying to earn. How many versions of yourself have you transformed into, hoping they'd finally notice? How much silence have you swallowed? How many times did you lower your expectations just to keep them around? And despite all of it, you still care, not because they're special, but because your heart is still trying to understand something from long ago, Why wasn't I enough? People who care deeply often confuse intensity with importance. If a person makes you feel anxious, uncertain, or hopeful in small doses, your brain mistakes that emotional roller coaster for connection, intermittent attention. Random kindness followed by distance is one of the strongest psychological hooks that exists. It feels meaningful, even when it's unhealthy. It feels personal, even when it's not. It feels like love, even when it's the furthest thing from it. And you don't fall for people who don't care. You fall for the moments when it felt like they did. A random sweet message, a long conversation that made you feel seen, a moment where they opened up a little. Those small moments create emotional snapshots your mind holds on to like proof. Proof that you're not imagining the connection. Proof that they do care, just not consistently. And people who feel deeply, they cling to potential. They cling to hope. They cling to what things could be more than what they really are. But caring deeply is not the same as being cared for, and wanting someone doesn't guarantee they have the emotional capacity to want you back. Let me tell you a simple, quiet truth. People love at the level of their emotional maturity. Some people just can't meet you where you are. They can't give you the consistency, effort, or softness you offer them. Not because they're bad, but because they're limited. And no amount of caring on your part can fill the spaces inside them that they refuse to open. Still, you try. Because it feels better to hold on to the possibility of them than to face the fear of losing them. You think to yourself, if I just care more, maybe they'll finally see my value. But people don't fall in love because someone cares more. They fall in love when they feel safe, understood, respected, and emotionally connected. And you deserve someone who makes all of that feel effortless. But let's explore something deeper, something more vulnerable. You don't chase them because they don't care. You chase them because some part of you believes that if you can win this person's love, it will finally validate every wound you've carried. It will prove that you were always lovable, always enough, always worthy. That's the hidden psychology behind it. That's the truth most people don't say out loud. You think the person you're chasing is the key to healing. But what you're actually craving is closure. You want closure from everyone who ever made you feel small, from everyone who overlooked you, from everyone who dismissed your feelings, from everyone who taught you that love must be earned. That's why the people who care about you feel boring, too simple, too easy, because they don't activate the old wounds. They don't trigger your fears. They don't force you to fight for affection. And when you don't have to fight, you don't know what to do. You're not used to being loved gently. You're used to emotional turbulence. You're used to trying. You're used to hoping. But healthy love doesn't feel like a battlefield. It feels like a home. Not a home you have to fix or rebuild, just a home where you can finally breathe. So why do you care too much about people who don't care about you? Because you weren't taught what healthy love feels like. Because you mistake familiarity for connection. Because inconsistency makes you try harder. Because your wounds are speaking louder than your worth. And none of that makes you weak. It makes you human. It makes you someone who has a heart big enough to try even when it hurts. Someone who believes in people. Someone who sees the good in them even when they can't see it in themselves. But here's an uncomfortable truth you might need to hear. Caring too much about the wrong people is often a sign that you're avoiding the work of caring for yourself. You pour into others because it distracts you from your own emptiness. You chase people because it's easier than sitting with your own loneliness. You overlook red flags because you fear the silence that would come if you let them go. But silence is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the place where you finally hear your own voice again. It's where you rediscover what you need, what you want, what you deserve. And often, it's in that silence that you realize you were never asking for too much.
But before you find
You were just asking the wrong people. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you stopped chasing, if you stopped shrinking yourself, if you stopped settling for almost love, if you learned to walk away when someone's effort didn't match yours. Imagine how much peace would enter your life if you gave yourself the same loyalty you give others. You don't have to stop caring. You just have to start caring in the right direction. You deserve someone who doesn't make you question your worth. Someone who doesn't make you feel like you're hard to love. Someone who doesn't disappear when you need them. Someone whose care isn't a performance, but a presence. But before you find them, you have to become the person who no longer tolerates being emotionally underpriced. You have to become the person who knows their own value without needing someone else to confirm it. You have to become the person who realizes that love is not something earned, it's something shared. You deserve a love that doesn't feel like work. A love that doesn't keep you guessing. A love that doesn't make you anxious. A love that doesn't require you to break yourself into smaller pieces just to fit into someone else's life. And here's the most beautiful part. Once you stop chasing the people who don't care, you create space for the ones who always will. There's a version of you out there, maybe not far from who you are right now, who knows how to walk away from emotional crumbs. A version of you who sees inconsistency as a red flag, not a challenge. A version of you who doesn't confuse attention with affection or chaos with chemistry. A version of you who finally understands that the right person won't make you earn a place in their life. They will make you feel chosen. And the moment you feel chosen, truly chosen, you'll look back at the people you chased and wonder why you ever made yourself so small for them. So take a breath. Let the truth sink in gently. You don't care too much. You just care in the wrong direction. And your heart isn't broken. It's tired of proving, tired of hoping, tired of waiting. It's time to rest. It's time to heal. It's time to choose yourself first, not as a last resort, but as a beginning. And when you do, everything, love, connection, peace, will find you more easily than any person you've ever chased. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You just have to stop holding on to what isn't. And maybe, just maybe, that's the moment your life begins to feel lighter. Because sometimes the real lesson isn't learning how to get people to care about you. It's learning how to stop caring about the ones who never truly did.